everyone, it's Hannah. I know I said I wasn't gonna see you guys until the new year, but surprise, here we are. New Year's Eve is tomorrow, so it is not the new year yet, and I realized at the beginning of this year, I gave myself a challenge, and the challenge was to read 5 books this year. And for those of you guys who don't know, I am not a book girly. I don't read a lot, and I'm getting into it. And this next year, I plan to read a lot more. So what this video is I'm going to show you guys the books I did read this year, and I'm going to rank them from my least to my favorite. And then I'm also going to show you guys a few books on my TBR for next year. So maybe it'll give you guys some inspiration on what to read, or maybe not. My genre I'm finding that I like to read is quite niche and not a lot of people like it. So let's just see. Let's get on with the video. So I read 6 books this year, not 5, which I'm very happy about. It was quite the process, but here we are. Anyways, so the book that's ranked least favorite in this list is We'll Always Have Summer. So this is the 3rd book in the Summer I Turned Pretty series by Jenny Han. And so this is the final of the series. And I read the entire series this year. I read book 1 and 2 and 3. The second book's actually my favorite. I don't have it with me. These are my sister's books and I'm borrowing them from her, and the only one I have right now is this one. But I did finish all 3 books this year. So technically I read more than 6 books this year. But anyways, I also watched the series as it came out. The only reason this is so low is just because in terms of all the rest of the books I read, this just isn't my cup of tea. I like a good romance, but I like a really clean, simple romance. And this just felt super complicated. On top of the fact that I am in the minority of being a Jeremiah fan. Being Team Jeremiah versus Conrad. And now, before you say anything, it's mostly just because as someone who struggles with a lot of mental health issues, Conrad is so emotionally unavailable that just bugs me. I feel like that's not just me either. I feel like there's other people that see that. And I will give him that towards the end of this book and in the show, in the last season, it was a lot better. But first 2 seasons were rough for him. And people are like, oh, I hate Belly. Oh my gosh, anything but Team Belly. But honestly, I don't think she should be with either of them. I think she should find someone better who just loves her for who she is, treats her good, and is emotionally available the entire time. You shouldn't have to work up to that. What he told her in the finale, if you guys have seen it, you've seen it. If you don't, then go watch it or go read it if this is your cup of tea. What he told her in the finale, he should have told her very early on. And he did not. And the reason that he suffered was his fault. So, yeah, that's my rant on that one. But, yeah, this book is ranked 6. It's a good romance book. It's just not my cup of tea. So, book number 5 is actually a, devotional type. So, this is Draw the Circle, the 40-Day Prayer Challenge. This is by Mark Batterson. And I love him as an author. I have another book in here by him as well. So he is the author of The Circle Maker. And so he basically created this idea, this challenge, the circle challenge, where you basically are focusing on one thing to pray for 40, for this one, the prayer one, it's 40 days. And you focus on that thing. You're constantly in prayer about it, in the word. Specifically circling this one item to have breakthrough on, or just to see some change. And me and my sister and my mom did this as a Bible study, and it was really, really good, very impactful for all of us, and I would definitely recommend it. The only reason this is so low is because this is a devotional, and so it's not as thrilling, right, as some of these other books. That's the only reason it is so low, but it is a great devotional. And there are no books that I read this year that I would say are bad by any means. All the books I read this year are good, and I would recommend all of these books to anyone, just some of these less than others, obviously. But this one I would recommend if you're wanting to improve your prayer life. All right, so number 4. So this is Turtles All the Way Down, and this is by John Green. And the reason that I love this book so much is because I really felt seen while reading it. So it's about a character who has a lot of OCD, and as someone with anxiety, I'm not sure if I have OCD or not, but I have some of the same like anxieties that this character deals with, and she worries about basically everything, and it kind of rules her life for a while until she learns kind of how to harness it versus like having it rule her life. And I loved this book. I loved this book, and I loved the movie that came along with it. It was really, really great, and I would recommend it if you are in the mental health space, if you enjoy learning about psychology, you want to know more into the mind of somebody who struggles with some of these things, definitely read this book, or you yourself do. Please read this book because I definitely recommend. It's really good. So number 5 is In a Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day. I told you we'd come back to Mark Batterson, and here we are. This book is so good. This book is so good. It is so like insightful, and there's so much like good advice about living your life. Specifically, I'm talking to those of you guys who already follow Christ. If you guys don't, there's obviously still reason for you to read this book because it's got some great scripture references and just different like practical ways you can like use this in your everyday life. But it takes a story from the Bible and it basically builds off of that and then relates it to life today. And it's so, so good, and you guys should definitely check it out. Definitely recommend. This is actually my second time reading this book. I read it a few years ago as well when I received this book, but I love it so much. So that is number 5. And now 6 and 7, because they're technically 2 books, but they're on my Kindle, so I just counted it as 6. But the best books I read this year are, and I will pop them up on the screen right here, it is Black and Red from the Circle series. Now, you guys are probably like, oh my gosh, she loves circles, because like the Draw the Circle Challenge, Circle series. This is actually completely different. So this is by an author called Ted Decker, and these books are like suspenseful. They're psychological thrillers, which I found is my favorite genre to read. And it's hard to find good ones, but these ones were recommended by my dad and my older sister. And so I checked them out, and I was absolutely obsessed after I read the first book, which is Black. And I just finished Red. I read Red in a week, and I don't read books in a week. So that shows you how much I loved it. And I already purchased White, which is the next book in the series, and I will be reading it. It is on my TBR, but oh my gosh, like I could say so many good things about this. It's a psychological thriller, so there's like this war in your mind the entire time you're reading. So it's kind of like Chronicles of Narnia, where it basically has draws biblical comparisons. So there's a lot of like references almost to the Bible without it being super obvious. At least in the first book. The second book, it's a lot more obvious, but like biblical comparisons, but it's in this world. And basically like the premise is there's this character, and when he falls asleep, he enters a dream world, which is like another version of this world, but in the future. And so he can see what has transpired basically on like current Earth, to see how he can stop things from happening. And so basically there's this like phenomena that happens, and he has to basically save the world. And so he travels back and forth between like this world, this timeline, and what they call New Earth, which is like future Earth. And yeah, so it's mind-boggling, because still I'm not even sure. I've only read the first 2 books, and I'm still not even sure if both worlds are real, if one is a dream. There's some hints as to something might be happening more with that, but I still have no idea. So it basically just like makes you think the entire time, and I really, really love it so much, like trying to figure out what's going on as you're reading. It is amazing. So that is why Black and Red are my favorite books that I read this year, and I would definitely recommend them to anybody who is into like mysteries or psychological thrillers. So now to my TBR, which the first 2 books on my TBR are Emmanuel's Veins and White. So Emmanuel's Veins is like the prequel to the Circle series. So there's this guy I found on YouTube, and he basically broke down all of the books in all 35 books in the Books of History Chronicles, which are what Ted Decker's like series is called, that has all these books inside of it. And I was supposed to read Emmanuel's Veins first because it's like a prequel to kind of what is happening more on the New Earth side of the Circle series, but I didn't read it yet. So that is on my TBR. That is actually first on my TBR. And then I will read White. But there's also a whole list of Ted Dekker books. So my goal is to read the entire Books of Chronicles. Oh my goodness, Books of History Chronicles throughout this next year. So that's 35 books, which is already insane. But also on that TBR is another Ted Dekker book called Blink. And this book looks really, really cool. I found this book actually at a secondhand bookstore, and I thought it sounded so cool. So this is basically about a guy who's got like the world's highest IQ. I don't know a lot about it, but it's Ted Dekker, and I read the back and I thought it looked cool. I don't really remember at the moment, but it looks really cool, and it's on my TBR for this year. Along those same lines is Ted Dekker's 3, and I got this for Christmas. You guys might have seen in my Christmas haul, but I've actually already started this. I'm already 5 chapters in, and I'm already obsessed. Like, so good. Basically, this guy gets a call, and the call is like, hey, dude, so you don't know who I am, but I know you, and if you don't tell, if you don't, like, go on CNN and tell them about your big secret, then I'm gonna blow your car up. And then his car blows up. He gets out of it before it blows up. But so it's like this mystery. You can see my bookmark. It's basically like this mystery of like who this mystery caller is and like why he's targeting this person and what's happening and is this guy gonna die or not. And from what I've seen, he also drags people he loves into the mix. So I'm like, what is happening right now? So like it's dark and psychological and good, but it's also got biblical comparison in it. This guy is actually in seminary school, and he is talking in the very beginning of the book with an ethics professor, which again, I love ethics, I love psychology, I love like the psychological stuff. So that book is like right in my vein, and I got obsessed right away. I just started it like 2 or 3 hours ago, and I'm 5 chapters in, and I've taken breaks. I haven't like read the whole entire time, because if I did, I would probably be like halfway through the book by now. But anyways, along different lines, we have Next Gen Leader, which this is by Andy Stanley. This is 5 essentials for those who will shape the future. So this is like it's like geared toward young leaders who want to have a chance to step into leadership someday. It's basically just how you can do that practically, but also just like following the guidelines of the Bible and taking scripture into account, like how that would look in your life. And I'm excited to read this. I've had this for a while, and I just put this on my TBR because I thought it would be great to read. I am going to school here soon. I'm going to be going to college for biblical theology and worship leading. And so this is going to help a lot too. It'll just be an extra book along with like my studies. So, and then the last one, this is actually romance, and I'm actually so excited. This is The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros, I think. It says as seen on TikTok. I've never seen it on TikTok. I found it at Barnes & Noble. I read the back and I got obsessed, and I really want to read it. So it sounds super good. It sounds like it's slightly suspenseful, kind of sad, but also like it's a romance, and I love a good romance. So I'm thinking I'm really gonna like this. But if you guys have read this, let me know you guys' thoughts. But I hope you guys did enjoy it. As a girl who is pretty new into the reading world, I'd love to know you guys' recommendations now that you guys know I love like the psychological thriller genre. If you guys have any recommendations for me that I haven't already picked out here. Obviously there's a lot more psychological thrillers out there. I picked these ones specifically because they have biblical comparisons to draw between, so it helps me understand it more. Yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I talked for way too long. I hope it wasn't boring, but I'm not lying now when I say I will see you guys next year, because it's literally tomorrow night. It's gonna be New Year's Eve. So let me know in the comments you guys' plans for New Year's Eve. I would love to know what you guys are doing. Me and my husband we're gonna go see Stranger Things in the theaters. But anyways, I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.